example, so we are going to write to only a single row. I'm going to move this incrementer down. Maybe I'll just put it here. So let's take a look at the data table right row. Let's change this from being a variable just to being a single constant, 0. So we're always going to write to the first row. Now, if we write to the first row and then we copy the data down, it won't work exactly how we planned, so we have to do the order of operations a little differently. First thing we have to do is copy the existing data down, and this will leave us a space to write to that first row, row 0. So we'll select Data Tables. We'll select Data Tables, Copy Rows. We'll place this function here. And so let's take a look at this. We have Source Table and we have Target Table. Now, if we had many data tables defined, we can copy and paste between them. Hopefully we'd have a structure that makes sense, otherwise the data being represented by that table wouldn't make any sense anymore. Meaning if we've defined a memory integer and it tries to read it into a memory long column, it's going to take too much information. Maybe it's going to combine two memory integers. I don't know. But anyway, we're going to work from table 1 and the row number. So this is the input and this can be the output side. So the row number we want to use is 0. We want to copy from row 0 to row 1. Okay? And since our table is a length of 100 rows, we're going to use the number of rows as 99. So what are we doing? We're copying from row 0 through 98 to row 1 through 99. We're shifting all of the data down and we're leaving the existing old data in row 0. After that, our data table right row will write to that row 0. So we shift down, we make room, and then we fill in the space. Notice that I can't click OK here yet. It's because I did not select my target table. This becomes more obvious when you have more than one table, but for a lot of times when you only have a single table, it's not that clear that you have to select both. You have to select both, and if you can't click OK, that is probably why. So let's click OK here. And again, we edited our row number to 0. Notice we didn't change any of the source data. This has got nothing to do with what we're actually logging. It's just how we're logging it. So I'll hit OK. I'll connect this element. Again, I'm going to do a stop download and reset. Again, since we've disabled this net, we shouldn't have to worry about any compiler errors because I left this unconnected element. Okay, hit OK. Okay, so let's go back to our data table editor. We'll go to our online view this time. And let's take a look at what we have. Remember our old information that we have been continuously wrapping around writing? It's still there. We didn't create any function to erase it. But we can take a look at our new information, and it's shifting down every scan. So what we've created here is some structure to our data. I guess we could say a little more intelligent way of recording it, or maybe more useful output for us. We can take a look at this and we can easily see that the last piece of information was at this time, and it was actually the last log that the controller did. And the last piece of relevant information, meaning as far back as we wish to care about the results, should be here at the bottom at 99. And it will be after we push all this old garbage information out. Okay, so these are two fairly simple examples of how we can use a data table. They specifically pertain to data logging. We can say again that if we had a different structure we used to use, we're of course going to define it here in the data table configuration. We're then going to come up with some way of storing and linking the registers and some method we want to use to log the data, and then we should be able to store our data in a way that makes sense to our user, I can say. What we're going to do next week is take a look at how to pull this data out using our data export software. What this will do is connect to the PLC and download the data table to an Excel file. We can define a time-based schedule to do this, and we'll take a look at that. And we can also, over Ethernet, give the PLC control of when to download the table, which is nice. Maybe we don't want to do it every 5 or 6 hours or 30 days. Maybe we want it to happen when the data table is full, and only the PLC will know that if we don't have a certain time-driven event logging. So that's what we'll do next week. What else can I say about this example? The shift register idea is very nice. I'm going to leave this because we can see it's running here. I guess we'll save the changes. A little more expandability we have. We have SD card capability. Under our data table, we have the ability to log 320 different data table files on the SD card. We've got two options, or I guess I could say several options, but we've got two options I want to talk about. We can either copy the data table from the PLC. This is nice. It gives us 320 different files, but they're still limited each to 120K. Or we can log directly to the SD card. In this case, we can take advantage of a lot more data. If we put a 16 gig SD card in there, and each file is limited to 4 gigs, we can record and log a whole lot of data. We've got tools to pull the information back out of the SD card, back to the data table as well, so we can use it as a storage space. But we'll take a look at that in another example. So, that being said, I'd like to thank you all for listening to our webinar. I'd like to invite you to look at our webinar library that we're starting to build up. And of course, if you have any questions or comments or concerns, our email address is support@unitronics.com. And we'd love to hear from you, especially if you have an idea of things that are going well or not well, if you have suggestions, or if you have topics you'd like to cover that would really be beneficial for both us and you. Again, thank you for coming, and you should find these files we've created and some description of them on the webinar site as well. So thank you, and have a good day.